Good morning, dear friend. The sun has not yet fully risen, but already the air holds a kind of quiet promise. It is that sacred space between darkness and light, when the world feels soft and honest, when your soul can still hear its own whispers. This is the morning, not just any morning, but your morning, and I am so honored to meet you here. Maybe you woke up today with a mind racing faster than your breath. Perhaps your body feels rested, but your heart does not. The bed may have held you through the night, but something deeper did not sleep at all. Maybe it is grief that stirred before dawn, or anxiety that met you before your feet touched the floor. For some, mornings feel like mercy. For others, they are reminders of everything left unresolved. I want to tell you a story. A woman I know, kind, faithful, always serving others, recently lost someone she deeply loved. It was not expected. It was not fair. In the days that followed, people brought meals, sent flowers, offered kind words. But when the casseroles stopped coming and the world moved on, she found herself alone with silence too loud to bear. She told me once, "I keep trying to pray, but all I do is cry." And I said to her what I want to say to you now. That is a prayer. Tears are prayers when the heart can't find words. Silence is prayer when you sit in God's presence without performance. Surrender is prayer when you stop demanding answers and simply say, "I am still here, Lord." This space we are entering together is not about polished faith or perfect words. This is about honesty. This is about showing up weary, messy, uncertain, and trusting that God welcomes the truth far more than a performance. Friend, the journey you are about to take is not one of forced positivity or unrealistic peace. This is a path walked step by step, surrender by surrender, breath by breath, and along the way, something beautiful happens. You begin to realize that you were never asked to carry it all. You begin to remember that peace is not a reward for those who fix everything. It is a gift for those who are willing to let go. Prayer is not just something we do. Prayer is a place we enter, a place where burden meets comfort, where chaos meets clarity, where striving meets surrender. And so today, before anything else takes your attention, I invite you to pause, to breathe, to let this morning be more than a checklist. Let it be sacred. Open your heart, not because you have it all figured out, but because you do not have to. You are safe here, you are seen, and you are not alone. We are about to begin a spiritual journey, not away from your pain, but through it. We will walk slowly, honestly, and as we go, may your heart open one layer at a time. May your soul begin to settle. And may your faith, no matter how small it feels right now, be enough to take the next step. Welcome to the conversation. Welcome to the quiet. Welcome to the strength that does not scream. Let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, I come before you at the very start of this day, not hiding what I carry, not pretending I am stronger than I feel. You see me exactly as I am in this quiet morning, before the noise begins, before responsibilities call my name. I bring you the weight that has been sitting on my chest. Some of it has been there so long that I forgot what it feels like to wake up without it. I admit, Lord, I am tired, not just in my body, but deep in my soul. There are thoughts that followed me into sleep and rose with me before the sun. There are worries I keep replaying, questions without answers, and fears I try to manage as if they were my responsibility alone. Father, I confess that I often wake up already bracing myself for the day. I prepare for problems that have not yet arrived. I rehearse conversations that may never happen. I hold on to regrets from yesterday and call it caution. I carry the future as if I am the one who must secure it, and in doing so, I feel the strain. I feel the tightness. I feel the quiet exhaustion that no amount of rest seems to fix. Today, I do not want to ignore that feeling. I bring it to you. You know the burdens I have not spoken out loud, the ones I minimize when others ask how I am doing. You know the fear I mask with productivity and the sadness I hide behind routine. You know the moments when I feel behind, when I feel unsure, when I feel like I am failing to keep everything together. Lord, I name these things before you now, not to dwell in them, but to stop carrying them alone. This morning, I acknowledge the truth that I was never meant to hold everything by myself. I was not created to solve every outcome or protect myself from every possible hurt. Yet somehow, I have been trying. I have been gripping tightly, afraid that if I let go, everything will fall apart. Father, I feel the weight of that fear, and I ask you to meet me here, right at the point where I am weary from holding on. As this day begins, I choose honesty over appearance. I do not come with polished words or perfect faith. I come with a heart that is heavy but still willing. I come with questions that have no easy answers and emotions that feel tangled and unclear. I trust that you are not intimidated by my weakness or disappointed by my vulnerability. I trust that you welcome me, even when all I can offer is openness. Lord, in this moment, I slow my thoughts and steady my breathing. I allow myself to be present with you. I let the morning light remind me that newness is possible, even when my heart feels old with worry. I recognize that this day has not yet unfolded, and yet you are already here. You are already aware of what I will face. You are already present in every moment ahead of me. I place this day before you as it is, unfinished and uncertain. I place my mind before you, asking for clarity where there is confusion. I place my heart before you, asking for gentleness where there is heaviness. I place my fears before you, not demanding that they disappear, but asking that they no longer control me. I do not want to move forward, pretending I am fine when I am not. I want to begin this day grounded in truth. Father, remind me that acknowledging my weariness is not failure. It is an invitation for you to step closer. Teach me that rest begins, not when everything is resolved, but when I stop resisting your presence. As I stand at the threshold of this day, I open myself to you. I am here. I am listening, and I am willing to begin again, even if all I can offer is a tired but honest heart. Lord, I am still here with you, carrying the honesty I offered a few breaths ago. And now, as I linger in this sacred space, I feel the deeper layers rising. Beneath the tiredness, beneath the weight of worry, there is something harder to name. It is the quiet grip I keep around the things I fear most. It is my need to control what I cannot predict. I have been trying to steer outcomes as if they were mine to command. I plan to avoid disappointment. I prepare to avoid being caught off guard. I calculate every possible turn just to feel a little safer. But deep down, I know this need for control has become its own kind of burden. It is no longer protection. It is pressure. Father, I see it now how I wear control like a shield, but it cuts into me more than it protects. I rehearse what might go wrong, because part of me believes that thinking about it will somehow stop it from happening. But all it really does is steal the peace I have not yet lived. I admit that I do not trust easily. I admit that letting go makes me feel exposed. Yet you are gently showing me that holding on this tightly has not made me stronger. It has only made me tired. So now, in this morning light, I begin to open my hands. Slowly, honestly. I confess that I do not fully know how to release what I have carried for so long. But I want to try. I want to believe that your ways are better than my plans. I want to learn how to live without needing every detail resolved. Lord, meet me in this tension, the place where my fear of losing control collides with my longing to trust you. Teach me what it means to live open-handed. Help me understand that surrender does not mean giving up. It means giving over. Giving over my expectations, my deadlines, my definition of success, the people I love, the things I cannot fix. I bring them to you, one by one, naming them softly in my heart. And for each one, I ask for the courage to say, not my will, but yours. I know now that control is an illusion. It tricks me into thinking I am safe while draining the life from my soul. It keeps me in constant motion, always managing, always adjusting. But it never gives me the peace it promises. Only you can do that. You are the steady hand I have needed all along. And now, I want to shift my grip. I want to stop holding outcomes and start holding on to you. Let this be the morning where I trade pressure for presence. Let this be the moment where I step out of my strategies and into your shelter. I release the timelines I have clung to. I release the fear that if I do not act fast enough, I will miss something meant for me. I release the inner voice that tells me I am only as secure as my plans. Father, I do not want to chase peace anymore. I want to walk in it. Help me notice when I start to grip again. Help me pause when anxiety rises, not to control the moment, but to return to you. Let my heart remember that peace is not found in understanding everything. It is found in trusting you with what I do not know. Remind me that letting go is not weakness. It is the deepest kind of strength, the kind that says, God, I trust you more than I trust myself. When fear whispers that everything will fall apart, let your truth be louder. Tell my soul that you are already in the details. You are already ahead of me. You are already working in ways I cannot yet see. You are not asking me to be perfect. You are asking me to be present. And so here I am, present, real, willing to release. I surrender the conversations I replay in my mind. I surrender the fear of what others think. I surrender the guilt I carry for not doing more. I surrender the outcomes that do not belong in my hands. And as I let go, I ask you to fill the space I once reserved for fear. Fill it with peace, with clarity, with quiet confidence that does not depend on results. Let this be the turning point where I stop measuring my life by how much I control and begin to measure it by how much I trust. Let me walk forward today, not with tension, but with trust, not with pressure, but with peace. If I start to grasp again, gently remind me to open my hands. Remind me that the weight was never mine to carry. Even if nothing changes on the outside, let something shift within me. Let me feel the freedom that comes from not having to know everything. Let me discover the strength that lives in surrender. And let that strength carry me through this day with a steadiness I could never produce on my own. I no longer want to be ruled by the need to manage everything. I want to be led by your Spirit. So lead me, Father. Even if I do not know where we are going, I trust that where you lead will always be better than where I have been forcing myself to go. Lead me in peace. Lead me in truth. Lead me in surrender, one moment at a time. Father, even as I sit here in this quiet moment, I feel how deeply ingrained my need for control has been. The act of releasing it does not happen all at once. It returns again in the form of subtle thoughts, small worries, questions I ask myself without realizing. And yet, each time I recognize the weight returning, I now know I have a choice. I can reach again for control, or I can choose to surrender once more. Not because I am giving up, but because I am giving in not to fear, but to you. Lord, help me understand that surrender is not the same as losing. It is not defeat. It is not weakness. It is the courageous decision to stop fighting what is not mine to fix. It is the wisdom to know that releasing something is not the end of responsibility, but the beginning of deeper trust. You never asked me to quit. You asked me to follow. You never demanded perfection. You invited honesty. And that is what I offer again this morning, the simple honesty that says, I cannot carry this alone. I choose to believe that surrender is sacred. It is not the last option. It is the first door to peace. It is where freedom begins, not where it ends. I have seen what happens when I try to force solutions. I have felt the way my spirit contracts when I cling to outcomes. But in this moment, I want to breathe wider. I want to stand taller, not in self-reliance, but in surrender. The kind that trusts you with what I do not understand. The kind that knows I do not need to win every battle to know that I am loved. God, shift my definition of strength. I have been taught that strength means pushing through, figuring it out, holding it together. But you are showing me something different. Strength is sometimes saying, I do not know. It is allowing tears to fall instead of pretending I am unaffected. It is pausing long enough to ask what you think before I rush into action. It is saying yes to your way, even when it interrupts my plans. I do not want to keep living as if peace is found in control. I want to choose the path of surrender, even if it feels unfamiliar. I want to walk into this day, not with a plan to manage every detail, but with a heart that is willing to trust you with each step. I know there will be moments today when I am tempted to take it all back to fix, to force, to figure out. But when those moments come, remind me that I have already made a better choice. I have already chosen to let go. Let my surrender today be active, not passive. Not sitting back, but leaning into your presence, leaning into stillness, leaning into trust that you are working, even when I do not see results. Let my actions reflect that trust. Let my words carry the tone of someone who knows they are held. Let my attitude reveal that my peace does not depend on how the world moves, but on how you move within me. Father, I recognize that surrender is not a single event. It is a rhythm, a way of walking, a way of breathing, a quiet agreement between my soul and your spirit that says, you lead, I follow. Help me walk in that rhythm today. Let it be visible in the small things, the tone of my voice, the thoughts I allow to grow, the way I respond when plans change. Let it be real, even if it feels simple. Let it be steady, even if I feel unsure. Today, I choose to surrender not only my fears, but also my desires, the dreams I hold close, the hopes I whisper when no one is listening, the longings that sometimes ache in silence. I place those in your hands too, not because they are wrong, but because I trust that you see the bigger picture. I surrender the timing, the how, the when. I surrender the temptation to rush what needs time and to hold on to what you are asking me to release. I surrender the stories I have been writing in my mind, the ones where I assume the worst, or brace for disappointment, or script conversations before they happen. I surrender the roles I have taken on that do not belong to me: fixer, protector, judge, savior. You are all those things, and I am not. Free me from the pressure of carrying what only you are meant to hold. I was never called to be everything. I was called to be yours. Let surrender soften the places in me that have grown hard. Let it quiet the noise inside that tells me I am running out of time. Let it untangle the tension in my chest that comes from trying to be enough. Let it replace fear with steadiness. Not a loud, dramatic peace, but a quiet one. The kind that stays with me through the ordinary parts of the day. The kind that meets me in traffic, in emails, in long pauses and unexpected delays. Father, I choose surrender not just because I am exhausted, but because I believe there is a better way. A way where I do not have to hold every piece. A way where my worth is not measured by what I control, but by the one who created me. I choose surrender because I want to live light. I want to live free. I want to live like someone who knows they are loved, even when they do not have all the answers. So here, again, I choose. I choose to let go, not because I am defeated, but because I am deeply loved. Not because I am giving up, but because I am giving in to something greater. I surrender not as a last resort, but as my first step toward peace. I choose to trust you more than my own understanding, and I choose it again, and again, and again, for as long as it takes to become my new way of living. Lord, I come to you again, aware of how deeply this surrender reaches. It has touched my thoughts, my expectations, my fears, and now it begins to quiet something else within me, the noise of my constant need to act. I realize how often I have equated trust with movement, obedience with doing. But sometimes, the holiest thing I can do is be still, not because I have given up, but because I am finally listening. Father, teach me how to listen in a world that rushes. Show me how to stay quiet long enough to hear you. I have spent so much of my life reacting to deadlines, to people, to pressure. I have chased answers before asking the right questions. I have spoken promises to myself before ever asking you what you desire for me. I have run ahead in the name of faith, but faith does not always run. Sometimes it waits. Sometimes it listens. Sometimes it simply stands still and whispers, "Speak, Lord, I am here." God, I confess that silence can feel uncomfortable. When things are quiet, my mind fills the space with worry or distraction. But now, I want to choose another way. I want to practice the stillness that surrenders not only my circumstances, but my right to lead. I want to pause before each step and ask, is this where you are calling me? Because I am learning that obedience is not just about doing what is right. It is about doing what you ask even when it does not align with what seems urgent or obvious. Let my obedience start in the unseen places, in the way I hold my tongue when I want to explain, in the way I slow down when my instinct is to rush, in the way I give instead of grasp. Obedience is not performance. It is not public. It is quiet alignment. It is the posture of a heart that trusts you, even when there is no affirmation from the world. It is listening for your voice and following even when no one else understands. Help me become more sensitive to the way you speak. Not always loud, not always clear at first, but always steady. Let me recognize your voice in the gentle conviction, in the nudge that says wait, in the stirring that says now. Let me stop asking for clarity before I move, and instead start trusting that clarity comes as I follow. Give me the grace to step even when I am not certain, to pause even when I am eager, to yield even when I am ready to speak. There is peace in following you, not because the path is always easy, but because I know you are on it. I would rather walk slowly in step with you than race ahead on my own. I want my decisions to echo your wisdom. I want my timing to reflect your patience. I want my motives to be filtered through your truth. Strip away the noise that tries to imitate urgency. Silence the voices that push me toward fear-driven decisions. Let me move only when you say move. Father, I know obedience does not always make sense to those around me, or even to me. Steve, but I am learning that trust does not wait for approval. Trust waits for you, and when you speak, even a whisper is enough. Help me tune my heart to respond, not out of habit or fear of consequence, but out of deep love. I do not want to follow rules. I want to follow your voice. I do not want to live rigid. I want to live responsive. Teach me to value the pause, the sacred breath between your invitation and my response. Let that space be filled with reverence, not resistance. Let my hesitation dissolve into worship. Let my waiting become worship. Let my obedience become worship, not forced, not fearful, but free and full of joy. For when I follow you, I know I am exactly where I am meant to be. In this quiet, help me hear again. Clear away the residue of yesterday's noise. Remove the echo of past decisions that cloud my present trust. Let my heart return to simplicity, to a love that listens first, then acts. Remind me that obedience is not delayed submission. It is immediate response, not because I understand the whole picture, but because I trust the one who does. God, help me remember that listening is not inactivity. It is presence. It is positioning myself to receive before I rush to give. It is trusting that you work in stillness, just as much as in movement. And it is honoring the truth that sometimes the loudest act of faith is the quietest. Yes, I surrender my need to prove, to perform, to push. I surrender the version of obedience I once believed, the one that came from fear or guilt. I choose a better way, a quieter way, a surrendered way. Let me hear the small, still voice that calls me by name. Let me notice the subtle shift when you say not now, or not that, or simply wait. Let those words not frustrate me, but free me. There is rest in knowing I do not have to lead the way. There is peace in walking at your pace. There is joy in knowing that obedience does not have to be grand to be powerful. It simply has to be real. I want that kind of obedience born from listening, sustained by trust, shaped by love. So here I am again, Lord, not asking for more signs, not begging for loud answers, but choosing to stay still until you speak. And when you do, no matter how small the instruction, I want to follow. I want to be someone you can trust to respond. Let my faith be active in its waiting, faithful in its quietness, and fearless in its yes. Let the silence between us never be distance, but deepening. Let it be where my roots grow. Let it be where peace takes hold. Let it be where obedience begins. Father, as I continue to stay near you in the stillness, I begin to notice something different inside me. It is quiet, subtle, almost unfamiliar. It is not a surge of strength or a wave of certainty. It is gentler than that. It is peace. A peace not born of perfect circumstances or clear answers, but of nearness, the kind of peace that does not shout, but settles, the kind that grows, not from understanding everything, but from no longer needing to. God, I feel it slowly replacing the constant striving, the exhausting inner chase to prove, to earn, to keep up. It is like something inside me has finally exhaled, and in that breath, I realize how much of my life has been shaped by effort. Not the kind of effort that honors you, but the kind that comes from fear of failing, fear of being forgotten, fear of not measuring up. I have run hard, even in my faith. I have tried to be good enough, spiritual enough, strong enough. But in this moment, I no longer want to strive. I want to be still and know that you are enough. You have never asked me to perform. You have only asked me to trust. And now, as peace begins to take root, I understand that true rest is not about inactivity. It is about alignment. When I align with your voice, your rhythm, your heart, peace becomes my new direction. It guides me in ways striving never could. It calms the need to always be ahead. It silences the fear that I am falling behind. Lord, thank you for this kind of peace, not the temporary kind that comes from everything going right, but the deep kind that remains even when things are uncertain. It is not fragile. It does not flee at the first sign of trouble. It stands. It anchors. It reminds me that I am not defined by what I do, but by whose I am. I no longer want to chase peace as if it is somewhere else. I want to receive it right here, in this breath, in this pause, in this moment with you. There is something powerful about no longer striving. I feel it in the way my shoulders relax, in the way my thoughts slow, in the way my heart softens. I begin to see that all my pushing has not moved me forward. It has only worn me down. But your peace builds me up again. It brings clarity to the fog. It untangles what my own effort could not. It does not come with pressure. It comes with presence. Let that presence stay with me. Lord, let it become my compass. When I face decisions today, let peace lead. Not people's expectations, not fear of consequences, not the pressure to prove something, just peace. That quiet knowing that comes when my spirit agrees with yours. Let that be what guides me, not urgency, not emotion, not comparison. Just your steady, calming peace. I surrender my inner need to constantly do. I surrender the belief that stillness is laziness, That rest is weakness. I surrender the inner voice that calls me selfish for pausing, for breathing, for taking time to be with you. That voice is not yours. You are not rushing me. You are restoring me. You are not measuring me by productivity. You are holding me by grace. Today, I want to move differently, not frantically, but faithfully. Not to get ahead, but to stay aligned. Let peace decide my pace. Let peace interrupt me when I begin to strive again. Let it pull me back before I get caught in the cycle of overthinking, overworking, overdoing. Let it whisper, you do not need to push. You just need to follow. Father, I see now that peace is not passive. It is powerful. It is not weak. It is weighty. It does not avoid conflict. It transforms how I walk through it. It does not erase challenges. It shifts the way I respond. Let that shift begin deep in me, in places where striving once lived. Let it reach the hidden corners. The anxiety I have normalized, the self-criticism I have learned to live with, the tension I hold without even knowing. Replace all of it with peace. Replace the rushed breaths with steady ones. Replace the noise with stillness. Replace the shame with gentleness. Replace the panic with purpose. Not a pressured purpose, but a peaceful one, the kind that comes when I know I am walking in step with you. And if the world around me does not slow down, let that be okay. Let me carry peace into it anyway. Let me be someone who brings calm to rooms, not because I have all the answers, but because I have stopped striving to be the answer. Let me show with my life that it is possible to live steady, even in chaos, that it is possible to move with purpose, not panic, that peace is not the reward, it is the way. God, let peace be visible in me today, in how I speak, in how I listen, in how I wait, in how I respond when things do not go as planned. Let it be the difference between how I used to live and how I am learning to live now. Let it be the mark of surrender on my life, not just something I feel, but something I embody. I receive this peace not because I deserve it, but because you are generous. I walk in it not because I have figured everything out, but because I am willing to be guided, and I hold on to it not with clenched fists, but with open hands, knowing that as long as I stay close to you, peace will never leave. This is who I want to be now, not someone who strives to prove, but someone who lives to trust, not someone who rushes to fix, but someone who listens to follow, not someone who reacts from fear, but someone who responds from peace. Let that be my rhythm today, slow enough to hear, quiet enough to sense, steady enough to stay surrendered. Let peace replace every place where striving once lived. Let it be the new compass of my soul. Father, as I sit with this peace that is slowly becoming familiar, I begin to notice what it is gently uncovering. It does not come to numb me or distract me. It comes to reveal. And in this light, I see that there are places within me I have kept quiet for a long time, not because I forgot, but because I did not know what to do with them. Wounds I have learned to live around, memories I have tucked away, emotions I have minimized so I could keep functioning. But you see through all of it. Do not you. You do not look away from the broken places. You move toward them. God, I realize now that surrender is not just about giving up control. It is about allowing you access to the parts of me that are still hurting. I have invited you into the surface of my life, my plans, my decisions, my habits, but today, I invite you deeper, into the places where disappointment has settled like dust, into the spaces where joy used to live, but now feel hollow, into the cracks in my heart where I have tried to patch pain with silence. I give you permission to go there, not because I am ready to feel it all, but because I am ready to heal. You are not afraid of my wounds. You are not impatient with my grief. You are not surprised by the things I still carry. You simply wait until I am willing to let you in. And now I am. I open the door slowly, trembling a little, unsure of what will surface. But I open it because I trust that you are not here to judge, but to restore. You do not rush. You do not shame. You simply stay. And that is more healing than anything else has ever been. Lord, some of these wounds come from words spoken long ago that I never forgot. Words that shaped the way I see myself. Words that still echo when I try something new or take a step of faith. Others come from betrayal, from love that was not safe, from hands that should have protected but did not. Some come from my own regrets moments I wish I could undo, choices I wish I had not made. I have blamed myself, punished myself. Tried to outgrow the pain. But healing does not happen by pretending it is gone. It happens by placing it in your hands. I surrender every wound I have tried to ignore. I surrender the sadness that comes in waves, unexpected. I surrender the anger I do not always know how to name. I surrender the fear that healing will take me somewhere I do not want to go. Let your spirit move gently into those places, not with force, but with presence, not with answers, but with compassion. I do not need a quick fix. I need your nearness. Father, remind me that healing is not weakness. It is not failure. It is holy work. It is sacred ground, and I do not walk it alone. Walk with me into the memories that still sting. Sit with me in the feelings I have pushed aside. Teach me to grieve what I never gave myself permission to grieve. Teach me that tears are not a step backward. They are a sign that something real is being released. Help me let go of the idea that I should already be over it. Let me stop comparing my healing to someone else's. You are not asking me to heal on a timeline. You are asking me to trust the process. So I give you the burden of pretending. I give you the pressure to appear okay. I give you the story I have told others. When they ask how I am doing, I lay down the script. I pick up honesty, and I ask you to meet me in it. God, bring healing to my mind where anxious thoughts have carved deep grooves of fear. Rewrite those patterns with truth. Bring healing to my heart where love has been complicated by pain. Let me learn to receive without suspicion. Let me learn to trust without trembling. Bring healing to my body where stress has lived for too long, where exhaustion has become normal. Let rest come in waves, steady and deep. Let forgiveness rise, even when it is hard. Let understanding soften places where resentment still lingers. Let grace flow into the places I have withheld it, both from others and from myself. And when I start to resist, when it feels too exposed, hold me there. Remind me that pain does not make me unworthy of love. It makes me a candidate for healing. Let my healing not just be internal, but transformational. Transformational. Let it change how I see others, how I respond to hurt, how I carry empathy into the world. Let it give me language for what I have never been able to articulate. Let it give me courage to speak truth in love. Let it give me vision for a life, not ruled by what I have been through, but shaped by what you are doing now. I know this healing won't come all at once. Some days will feel lighter. Some days will feel like I have gone backward. But even then, I will stay with you. I will keep returning. I will keep choosing the slow miracle of restoration over the quick fix of avoidance. Because you are not just healing the pain. You are healing the patterns. You are changing how I cope. You are rewriting the way I relate to myself, to others, to you. Father, thank you for being the kind of healer who sees everything and still chooses to stay. Thank you for not rushing me. Thank you for calling the broken places beautiful, not because they are painless, but because they are where your love can be most clearly seen. Let that love move through me today in gentle ways, in how I speak to myself, in how I treat others, in how I choose softness over shame, truth over pretending, presence over performance. Let this be the beginning of a different kind of wholeness, not the kind that forgets the past, but the kind that no longer lives in it. Let it be the kind that walks forward with scars that shine instead of sting. Scars that say, I have been touched by grace. Scars that say, I did not heal alone. Scars that remind me of how you never left, how you always stayed, how you always will. Father, as I sit with the healing you have begun, I feel something else stirring, not loud, not sudden, but steady. It is a deeper kind of surrender. One that does not just release pain, but begins to reshape my posture. Healing has softened the places where striving once lived. Now, you are inviting me into something more than recovery. You are calling me into rhythm, the kind of rhythm that flows from a heart fully yielded. Lord, I realize there is a difference between surrendering in moments of need and living surrendered as a way of being. I have come to you in crisis, in grief, in desperation. And you have met me there every time. But now, I want my surrender to move beyond response. I want it to become a foundation. I want it to become how I walk, how I think, how I breathe. Let my heart no longer be a visitor to peace. Let it be a resident. Let surrender be the language of my soul, not just in prayer but in how I live. I do not want to wait for storms to remember how to depend on you. I want dependency to be my default. I want my first response to be trust, not control. I want stillness to be my strength, not my struggle. God, shape my heart to agree with yours, not occasionally, but consistently. Let obedience flow not from obligation, but from alignment. I do not want to hesitate every time you lead. I want to live so close to your rhythm that when you move, I move without fear. When you pause, I pause without question. Not because I am trying to be perfect, but because I have come to believe you are worthy of my yes every time, in every way. I yield my heart again this morning, not because I have failed, but because this is the life I want. A life no longer driven by impulse or pressure, but moved by your presence. I want to live free from the need to impress, from the addiction to productivity, from the fear of falling behind. Those things once defined how I measured my worth. But now, worth feels different. It feels lighter. It feels like being known by you and still being invited into more. Let this rhythm reach the smallest parts of my day, in how I respond to interruptions, in how I carry responsibility, in how I speak when I am frustrated, or how I listen when someone needs grace. I want your peace to echo in my tone, in my pace, in my reactions, not manufactured, not forced, but flowing from a heart no longer wrestling. There is a quiet power in being settled, not passive, not disengaged, but rooted, like a tree that bends with the wind but does not break. Let that be the shape of my life. Let flexibility become faith. Let resilience become trust. Let maturity look like softness, not resistance. I want my strength to be felt in stillness. I want people to encounter peace when they encounter me. Not because I am trying to display it, but because it has taken root within me. Father, keep softening the places that want to harden. When fear tries to build walls again, tear them down gently. When pride tries to lead, remind me that humility is the only way. I hear you clearly. When old patterns rise, defensiveness, busyness, avoidance, remind me of who I am becoming. You are not just healing my wounds. You are reshaping my rhythm. You are making me someone who lives by peace, not panic, who leads with quiet confidence, not control. Let me wake up each morning with a yielded heart, one that says before anything else, lead me today. Let that simple invitation be enough to keep me close to you. I do not need dramatic change to feel progress. I need consistency. I need moments of quiet surrender that become the melody of my life. God, help me notice when I have drifted from this rhythm, not with shame, but with awareness. Let conviction be an invitation, not a punishment. Let it gently bring me back to the stillness, back to the simplicity, back to the safety of living surrendered. When I feel out of sync, teach me to pause, to breathe, to ask again, where are you leading me now? And when you speak, let my answer be yes, even if it is uncomfortable, even if it is unfamiliar, even if it costs me something I thought I needed. Because peace is the better prize. Your presence is the better destination. And nothing I hold tightly is worth more than walking closely with you. Let surrender be how I navigate decisions. Not panic, not pressure, just trust. Let it guide how I handle conflict, not to win, but to reflect grace. Let it shape how I dream, not with anxiety about outcomes, but with openness to your unfolding plan. Let it redefine success for me, no longer measured by recognition, but by obedience, no longer based on results, but on intimacy with you. Father, this rhythm you are teaching me is not always fast. It is not always loud. It often looks like waiting, like trusting before knowing, like showing up with faith even when I feel unsure. But I am beginning to see how powerful that is, how brave it is to live slow when the world says rush, how wise it is to listen instead of always speaking, how beautiful it is to release control and discover joy in the letting go. This life of surrender is not small, it is sacred, and the more I lean into it, the more alive I feel, the more connected I become, not just to you, but to who I truly am when I am resting in you. This is the rhythm I want for my future, for my relationships, for the way I serve, create, give, and live. A rhythm that reflects heaven more than hustle. A rhythm that honors quiet obedience over loud ambition. A rhythm where peace is not the destination, but the way. Let this become who I am, not just what I do. a person shaped by surrender, a heart yielded in every season, a soul anchored by peace. Let my life sing in harmony with your spirit, not just today, but every day forward. And when the melody falters, let grace carry me back into rhythm once again. Father, now that my heart has been reshaped by surrender and softened by your presence, I find myself standing at the threshold of a new kind of day, not just a new morning, but a new way of living. Everything around me may look the same: the sky, the walls, the road ahead, but something inside has changed. Something essential has shifted. I no longer carry the same weight, because I no longer carry it alone. And I no longer walk with the same urgency, because I no longer confuse hurry with purpose. Lord, this peace you have planted in me is not delicate. It is not a fragile thing I must protect. It is a steady flame that rises from within. It is what remains when striving has ceased. It is what speaks louder than fear. It is what reminds me that I am held, I am guided, and I am never walking alone. I want to carry that peace forward now, not just as comfort for myself, but as a light for others, not as a performance, but as a presence, a quiet strength that speaks of where I have been and who I have met in the silence. I have not arrived at perfection. I am not untouched by emotion or immune to fear. But I know where to return. I know what stillness feels like. I know what it means to be yielded. And I know that everything true in me begins with you. So as I step into the day, I choose not to forget. I choose not to leave behind this space, this rhythm, this posture. I want to bring it with me into the noise, into the tasks, into the unknown. Let my words carry the weight of peace. Let them be few, but full. Let my presence slow down rooms, not because I demand attention, but because I carry your atmosphere. Let my responses be shaped by surrender, not sharp, not rushed, not rehearsed, but honest and calm. Let people feel something different when they are near me, not because I am extraordinary, but because you are near. God, I know there will be moments when I forget again, when old instincts resurface, when I try to control what I have already released, when anxiety tries to claim the space peace now occupies. And when those moments come, bring me back to the quiet, back to the rhythm, back to the whisper that reminds me, you are safe here. Let peace be more than a feeling. Let it be my testimony. Let it say without words that healing is possible, that living surrendered is not weak, it is free, that there is strength in softness, that gentleness can move mountains, that obedience,
Dude,
when born of love, becomes the most powerful kind of action. Let others see it not just in my stillness, but in my decisions, in my boundaries, in my integrity, in my joy that does not depend on ease. Let this day be an offering, not filled with perfect outcomes, but with holy attentiveness. I want to notice what I used to miss. I want to pause when others rush. I want to celebrate progress that is not loud. I want to bless others not with answers, but with presence, with listening, with warmth, with space to breathe. I want to bring what you have done in me into every room I enter, every conversation I have, every small task I touch. Remind me, Lord, that I do not have to know what is next to walk confidently. Remind me that peace is not found by predicting the future, but by trusting you in the present. Let me wake up each day not chasing control, but returning to surrender, not demanding clarity, but choosing trust. Let this rhythm become muscle memory, not just a practice for the quiet mornings, but for the middle of the storm. I want to live as someone who has been with you, not because I speak loudly about it, but because the fruit is visible, because my tone is softer, my eyes are kinder, my pace is slower, because I choose gentleness over power, faith over certainty, presence over performance. Let this be the mark I carry, not a perfect story, but a peace-filled one. Thank you for staying through all of it, through the questions, the silence, the slow unfolding. Thank you for not rushing my surrender, but receiving it layer by layer. Thank you for healing me without shame, for showing me how strong love can be when it moves gently, for never turning away from the parts of me I thought were too much, for waiting until I was ready to give you everything. To everyone who has walked this journey with me, I want to say from my heart, thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for choosing stillness when the world pushes you to keep going. Thank you for opening your heart and making space for God to work in quiet, beautiful ways. I pray that what began here continues to grow in you. I pray that this peace takes root in the soil of your everyday life, in both the easy moments and the hard ones. If you have felt something stir in your spirit during these prayers, I encourage you, share it. Let your voice become part of the testimony. Your words might be what someone else needs to hear today. You are not alone on this path. We are learning together how to breathe deeper, how to walk slower, how to surrender more fully each morning. And if this journey has brought you peace, share it with someone you love. Let it ripple outward. Let it become a quiet revolution of trust. And if you would like to stay connected, if you want more moments like this in your mornings, I invite you to subscribe to this channel, to share this with a friend, and to continue growing in faith with us, one surrendered breath at a time. Let this day begin not with noise, but with knowing that you are deeply loved, knowing that peace is not out of reach, knowing that you are free to walk forward without fear. And as the light stretches across the sky, as the wind stirs gently through the morning air, may your soul rise with it steady, open, and at rest.